Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I've always thought Scotch had a very banana-forward nose to it, whether from a brand new bottle or even a smooth decanted Scotch. Bananas are typically incorporated in drinks with rum or as a banana liqueur, which never really tastes like bananas to me. So I wanted to see if I could blend the flavors of banana and Scotch to create my own banana liqueur. The cocktail I will be creating today is a mix between a tiki-style drink and a sherry cobbler. Sherry cobblers have fallen out of fashion, but they are really delicious cocktails that deserve their moment in the sun once more. I will be using an Amontillado Sherry for this cocktail. This is one of my favorite styles of sherry for making cocktails because of its bold, toffee-like flavor. And when paired with banana, cacao, and coffee, it reminds me of one of my favorite desserts, Banoffee pie. I will also be incorporating full-fat coconut milk for this recipe to add some body and richness. Also to dial up the tropical flavors. For the chocolate and coffee element, I will be using some homemade chocolate coffee bitters, but these take about a month to make, so store-bought bitters work great here too. To make my chocolate coffee bitters, I will be using 10 grams of cacao nibs, 5 grams of medium roast coffee, 2 grams of cassia chips, and cherry bark. The last two ingredients are responsible for that bitterness and also the tannins. I like to crush my coffee beans up a bit. I find that this reduces the time it takes to infuse. Just be careful not to grind them too fine, as it will be really hard to strain them out when the bitters are ready. I am also breaking up the cacao nibs too, as the pieces were a bit large. After everything has been crushed, I will add everything to a jar. Next, I'm going to add 4 ounces of Everclear, or if you have it, overproof whiskey would work really great. This needs to be stored in a dark, cool place. I like to use a dark colored jar to help keep out the light. I also like to agitate them every day or every other day, just to help speed things along. These need to sit for at least 3 weeks. Next up is the Banana Scotch, which is a much shorter process. I've tried this out with both a single malt Scotch and a blended Scotch, and I actually preferred the blended. For the blended Scotch, I will be using Dewar's White Label for this infusion. The most important part of making this has got to be the bananas. They have to be just ripe. If they are too ripe, it will be a mess to strain off, and if it isn't ripe enough, the banana flavor is too weak. For the amount of Scotch I'm using, I only need about 3/4 of a banana. To start, I'm going to slice the banana into rounds, about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch thick. Then place them in a bowl. Next, I'm simply going to pour 4 ounces of Scotch over the bananas. Now, I'm just going to pop the cover on and let this infuse for 24 hours. After the banana and Scotch have infused for 24 hours, all that's left to do is to strain off the bananas and the Scotch is ready to use. If you prefer a sweeter style, you could add some sugar to this, but I found the bananas imparted the right amount of sweetness for my taste. This banana scotch should last for a few days at room temperature, but since there is some residual banana solids in there, I would recommend keeping it in a bottle in the fridge, if you don't plan on using it within the week. Just keep in mind, this will mellow the flavors. Now we're all set to make this Banoffee Cobbler. This is going to be an equal parts cocktail. First, I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of coconut milk to a mixing glass. Next, I will add 1.5 ounces of the sherry. After the sherry, I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of the banana scotch. Next, I will add 1/2 ounce of agave. And lastly, I will add approximately 15 drops of the coffee and chocolate bitters. Since this drink will be served over crushed ice, I don't want to dilute it by adding any ice to my mixing glass, so I'm simply going to stir it. Before pouring the cocktail into the glass, I'm going to garnish the inside with some very thin rounds of banana, right around the middle of the glass. I find using the back of a bar spoon helps to secure them in place. Now I will add the crushed ice. Then pour in the cocktail. Now I'm going to take this one step further and garnish with some whipped cream, and also some shaved dark chocolate on top. And here you have it, the Banoffee Cobbler. It tastes remarkably close to a slice of banoffee pie, with just the slightest hint of smoke from the scotch, which nicely balances out the sweetness. This would be a great dessert drink, or even just a great tiki drink if you omit the whipped cream and the chocolate shavings. I hope that you give it a try, or at least give the banana scotch a try, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.